I think sometimes we try too hard. I know that sounds weird. I guess there's like a right time to really, really try, really, really push, and then there's like a not so right time. Guys, we get stuck with this idea that we can control everything, you know, this is our life, this precious thing, our kids' lives. And we have to try our very super best, you know, we got to push in a certain direction and we got to make them the way that we think that they'll be best. And there's all this pressure. And I feel like so many times in my life, I have tried to do something and I have tried too hard. It's windy and cold here in Michigan again, so we get used to it. Just like the weather, you know, like I can't control it, but I don't want to sit in my little spot anymore, so we're outside again. Maybe, you know, even in sports, when you're trying too hard, it doesn't work. I can look back at relationships where I tried too hard, jobs where I tried too hard. Sometimes the best thing we can do is just not try so hard. Just let go. Just do nothing. Does that make sense? Do nothing. Maybe the only thing you should do is listen. When I look back at my mom leaving my dad the way she did, I wonder if she tried too hard, or maybe it was just that she had to try with whatever was left. As little of her was left, it took all of that. It was 1992. I was sophomore in high school. I guess I must have been 15 years old, and the memories of this time in my life are a lot more clear because I wrote about them. I did. I just wrote them. I was, my whole life I've been around books, you know, words, learning how to read. My parents both read books to me. I can't ever think of a time when I couldn't go to the library and just pick up a book about anything. I used to love to read. So it was in kindergarten wherein I wrote my first book. And I went and I found an old cereal box and I cut the cardboard and I took some old fabric from my mom's sewing desk and I wrapped my first book. It was hardcover with a little soft cover on it. I took construction paper. Guys, I did all the stuff. I learned how to sew from my mother. So I actually sewed the binding of my first book. It was called The Clock That Couldn't Tell Time. Our assignment in kindergarten was to use the apostrophe contraction, couldn't, instead of could not. So I drew the pictures of the clock with the broken hands. This is the old school clock, remember? The round one with the little thingies. I looked for this picture in my collection of pictures for a long, long time. I couldn't find it. It frustrated me. So I tried too hard, and weeks from now, months from now, when I'm not trying so hard, guess what I'll find? So yeah, 92, I remember because I journaled. I used to journal a lot. I think it was an assignment at school. Here's something, let's see what little Bishop was doing way back in 1987. March 16th, 1987. Today was kind of fun, but in handwriting class, it was rad. I made a new way to write the letter A. I've been practicing it. A. See? I figured it should be like a regular A. Like it? Bye. March 24th of 1987. Today, the whole school knows that I love Jenny Marsh. I do, but I didn't want anyone to know. That's good stuff right there, I'll tell you what. That is some good stuff. So in the beginning of my life, when things were fuzzy and my memories, I struggled. Now, they're pretty clear. I kind of like that, and I kind of don't. I had taken driver's training the summer before. They want you to practice for 3 to 6 months, you know, practice with a parent. And then on your 16th birthday, mine was in March of 92, Then you could get your driver's license and be unrestricted. You were good to go, explore the world. You're free. In March, my father had moved out and I had helped him. And yeah, it starts to get a little tricky. When my dad left, he took the only vehicle, our family van, and my mom was stuck. She needed a vehicle. She reached out to like whoever, anyone, can you please help? And my aunt, my mom's sister, said, hey, I've got this car. I am needing a new car, so I'm gonna give you my old car. And I don't know the year. I know it was a Nissan Sentra, and it was cheap, it was small. It was red, my favorite color. I got my driver's license and I was 16. The only problem was that this car was a stick shift. Do you guys remember the stick shift? Like you would actually have to wiggle the stick and change which gear you were in. Like you couldn't stay in first gear, you had to step on a clutch. This was some complicated stuff, and this was like much different than the vehicle I had been practicing on. Thank you, geese. My dad's van was like automatic. It had 2 pedals. You just gas, stop, go, brake. Did I do that wrong? Sorry. So the stick shift, oh my gosh. My mom takes me out into the parking lot of my high school, and it's empty. It's a Saturday. And I'm in the driver's seat and I am trying to understand what's going on. I'm pushing down the clutch. But you got to push it just right. What happens if you don't push it just right is that the whole car shakes. Clunk, 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 clunk. If you don't give enough gas, you don't let the clutch off soft enough, the whole car shakes, and then it coughs and sputters and dies. Literally, the engine stops. So my mom tried to explain it to me, tried to teach it to me. I tried and tried and tried some more. And at some point, my mom was like, you're gonna blow out the clutch. Bishop, you gotta slow down. You gotta figure this out. Like, listen to me. And I was like, I can't do this. It's so hard. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. When you're 16 and your family has just fractured, every little thing feels like it's enormous. And I don't like this. Mom, I hate this car. I hate my life. I don't wanna do this anymore. And I cried. I cried like a little girl. There's some geese going. Walking around. It took me a long time to develop the patience. You know, I tried too hard. Just like with my dentures in my life now, I wanted them to go in my mouth and be perfect. And I didn't. When they weren't, I tried harder and I tried harder and I kept trying harder and I kept driving myself a little bit crazy. I don't know. I was still working for my grandma across the street. I was still doing odd chores. And now that I had a car that I could drive, I could go anywhere for her. I could go to the pharmacy. I could pick up her prescriptions. Guys, this was back in the day where, because you knew your pharmacist, if you went to the store as a 16-year-old kid, you could ask for a pack of cigarettes for your grandma, and the pharmacist would grab the Pall Malls or the Lucky Strikes or whatever, because they knew these were for your grandma and that's what she smoked. It was a wonderful time. So yeah, I would do odd chores for my grandma. I would get $10 and I could put it in the gas tank, and that freedom to be able to drive a car, to be able to turn the radio up, play my own music, and just get away, you know? I didn't have to stay there with my mom and my sister and my little brother because they were sad. It was just a hard time, but this was my escape, you know? This was my outlet. Drive the car. Sometimes I would take the car for too long, or I would do too much of the gas tank, and my mom would punish me by taking away the keys. Bishop, give me your key. But I was clever like this, so at the pharmacy, I noticed there was this spot where you could have a key cut. You could have a key literally made, and it could be a copy of a different key. So for all of like $3, you would hand your car key to this guy behind the counter. He would put it on his machine, it would grind and make a bunch of noise, and then ding, here's your key, sir. Wow, that was pretty cool. So now I've got these two identical keys. And if I give one to my mom, so my mom would punish me and take away my car, and I would keep driving. I figured out that she was going to keep taking my keys. So I went and I had 10, maybe 12 of these copies made. And in my backyard, I would bury them, I would put them in a Ziploc bag, I would hide them under a rock, hide them in the plants, anywhere. I would give one to my best friend. I would say, here, hold on to this, in case I need it. There's probably still keys in that backyard and in the woods behind my house. Oh my gosh. Because that's what you do. You can't take away a guy's escape. You just can't. Something else right around this time, my mom had to make it official that she was separating from my dad. And this probably wasn't the easiest thing for her to do. She was a Christian and she was supposed to be married, till death do you part. So to admit that it was time to get a divorce, that's not the easiest thing to do. And everybody around my mom, they all said, oh, well, you have to put your kids in counseling. This is going to be bad. Even my dad was saying, this is going to break the kids. They're going to be ruined forever. So my mom listened, and she brought us to counselors. My little brother, he escaped this. He was only about 5 years old, so he was okay. But my sister and I, we had to go and talk to a counselor, a therapist. And I can remember I'd be in school, just regular school. And because the therapist, the counselor was at my school, I would get pulled out of class. And everybody would watch me walk out the door. And I'd be gone for a half hour. For some reason, my algebra test, it wasn't that important. Now all of a sudden, this is more important. I'm like, wow. So I would have to go and I would talk to a guy in a little office, and here's how some of that went, okay? Hello, Bishop. Yes, please sit down. Your mother contacted me and asked me if I could speak with you. Your parents are going through a separation, and sometimes we just realize that that is a very difficult thing for a kid to go through. And I am here. I just want to talk to you. I just want to, we can be friends, okay? You and I, we can talk about anything, everything, and it's okay. It's good. So, yes. I don't want to be here. I don't like you. We're not friends. Okay, yes, and this is understandable. I didn't mean to force anything upon you. I want to help, okay? What happens if I get up right now and I walk through that door right there? Are you going to try to stop me? No, I won't. And your mother did say that something like this might happen, so I am supposed to inform you that if you don't cooperate, your mother is going to take away the power cord to your Sega Genesis again. Now, do you want that to happen? Huh, yeah. I hate it when she does that. Well, let's see, I must have some options, right? What happens if I jump over this desk right here and I beat the shit out of you and then I tell you to tell my mom that we cooperated, huh? What happens then? I was a pretty clever kid. All my years of role-playing made my mind pretty sharp, so I could see things, different paths, different outcomes. I could play with the variables, and that's what you get, you know? Well, no, I won't. But I'll tell you, if you attack me, then I will have to call the police, and they will come here, and they will put handcuffs on you, and they will take you off to a juvenile detention center. And Bishop, let me tell you, the other kids that they have in these juvenile detention centers, now they're not nice kids, okay? These kids, they like to fight, they like to punch and kick and bite and scratch and claw. And I don't want that for you, okay? So let's just make a deal. I don't want to hurt you. I'm not going to do that. I don't want you to hurt me. Do we have a deal? So let's just try this, okay? Let's just see what happens. It's okay. I just want to help you keep your power cord tonight, okay? I do. I really do. So let's just start with an easy one, okay? So go ahead and tell me, when your father left you, did it feel like he abandoned you? No, it was fine. My dad, he would come home from work, we would have family dinner together, and my dad just never really talked about much, you know? Like my mom, my sister, my little brother and I, we would all talk about what we do with our day, but my dad, pretty quiet, you know? And after dinner, like my mom would work on dishes, us kids would go watch TV or play video games, and my dad just sort of, he went off and did his own thing, you know? He'd be in the basement exercising, lifting weights. He would go out in the backyard and work in his garden, or he'd be busting up, pallets for the fireplace. So I don't know, it wasn't that big a deal because my dad, you know, he was already kind of gone. He was kind of gone already. Yes, okay. Now, do you feel angry at your dad? No, not really. My dad's a good guy. Well, okay, but to be fair, Bishop, if your dad was such a good guy, you know, why did he hurt your mother? Yeah, this would go on for days and weeks and months, and there was no hiding it, you know? The other kids saw me get pulled out of class. They would be like, hey, where's Bishop? What's happening to him? How come he gets to skip the test? They would see me go into and out of this little counselor's office. You know, like, it doesn't take long before everybody in the whole school knows that you're the broken kid, the new broken kid, right? You know, it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be angry. We all feel these things throughout our lives. It happens. It's comforting to just talk to another person about these things, okay? So I can tell you, when I was a kid, my parents got a divorce too. It was hard. I know. I understand. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I'm sorry about your parents. I want everything to go back to normal, you know? I want my mom to stop crying. I want my sister to be okay. I want to just watch TV and play video games and hang out with my friends. Yes, this is good. Okay, I want these things for you too, all right? And I'm very sorry, but we can't go back. There is only going forward. So, Bishop, you're going to keep coming to me. You're going to keep coming to see me until you open up. Until you open it all up, we dig way, way down deep inside, we find your hurts, and we shine some love on them, okay? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shine the love all over your hurts. I don't care. I don't have any hurts except for the ones that you give me. And honestly, I'm starting to get kind of pissed off at my mom for continuing to put me in this situation all the time, you know? Why can't everyone just leave me alone? Leave my family alone? Huh? I can do all that. I can let go. I can forget about it and never think about it again, and I can be fine. I can't show you what's not there. Okay, yes, I know, but you don't actually know what's down there until we look, right? We haven't tried looking, so let's just look. Let's take a look, okay? Can you tell me about your mother? Did you ever fantasize about having sex with your mother? Guys, it was just relentless. The interrogation, you know? The manipulation. It was very manipulative, and I tried to hold out. I tried to be strong like my father had taught me. I tried to resist, and yeah, I was a kid, you know? I was a freaking kid. I didn't know what I was doing. These are trained psychologists, psychiatrists. Like, I tried so hard to hold on to my sanity, but... Ah, yes. There we go. See? We found the hurt. It's okay, but we found it. This is a good thing. I'm very proud of you now. You're doing it. You're doing great. I just want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Yes, I know. This is only the beginning, and we're just going to start to work on it now, okay? We're going to do the work. This is going to get easier. It's going to get better. I know. I know it hurts. What? Just the beginning? Fuck this, Doc. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. No, I'm not doing it. You can tell my mom that I'm not just a little sad. I don't care. If I never get to play another video game again, I'm not doing it. I'm not even medium sad. I am full-blown super sad. Super sad. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want this life anymore. You know, I had a good life. I had a good family. And now that it's gone, okay. I'm just sitting here in the ashes, and that's okay. I'll be sad about it. I don't care. I don't want it anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. You can no longer threaten me because I have nothing to lose. I'm suicidal. But I can threaten you, huh? Doc, if I ever see you again, I'm going to take that marker of yours and I'm going to poke it into both of your eyes repeatedly until you're gone. And after you're dead, then I'm going to kill myself. And if I should find you in my afterlife, I'm going to keep on killing you, Doc. Keep on killing you. Goodbye forever. Yeah, just trying too hard, not listening. We all do it. I was driving around, my best friend in my passenger seat, listening to music. Guys, we had all the good stuff back then. It was grunge, so Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Nirvana, 9 Inch Nails. Turn the stereo up. My best friend and I, we liked big speakers, so there was always the boom, boom, boom. And there was a pizza joint, you know, down the way, and it had an arcade machine, a video game in a big old box, and it was called Mortal Kombat. And I forget how many quarters we put into this thing. It was probably in the thousands, you know. But over and over, my best friend and I, we would play Mortal Kombat. Late at night, my mom would get mad. Where did you go? What did you do? Nothing. One night, I think there was a group of girls. There was one that was cute, and I don't know, she looked at me the right way, and her name was Michelle. I don't have a picture of Michelle. Our relationship was kind of brief back then. I don't know. She went to a different school, so there was no yearbook picture. I don't know, we wouldn't, it was young, I was young. It was just kids, right? I'd go see her when I had the chance. I remember it must have been June 4th, 92. I had just finished my last day of school, and Michelle and I were going to go to one of her friends' house, and we were going to party and, you know, just let loose, escape. But it was a rainy night, and I was driving and going to an unfamiliar part of town out there in the country. There was like a road, it was called Port Sheldon, and I vividly remember Port Sheldon. It was kind of wonky because the road made a curve. I should probably draw you guys a picture. And then there was another road, and this intersection was awkward. It had a stop sign, and I didn't see it. I must have been doing about 50 miles an hour. And from my driver's seat, it looked like this pair of headlights went right into me. I don't know why it went right into me. It took the curve, and I was trying to go straight. It was a big pickup truck, a Ford XLT Lariat. It was also red. And I went head on, pretty much head on. My girlfriend, Michelle, she put her hands up because the windshield was coming at her. We were going towards the windshield. We met in the middle. And broken glass, it went into Michelle's hands, and I can still hear her screaming. I still remember the sound of that crash. It was pretty bad. Pretty bad. I was pretty bruised and bumped, but the seatbelt, you know, and the seatbelt on Michelle, we both walked away. I guess walking away doesn't really do it justice. Michelle had to ride in an ambulance and go to the hospital, and I called my mom and I had her bring me to the hospital. And for a good hour or so there, I had to sit outside and listen as they took tweezers to Michelle's hands. A year or two later, when I looked her up and found her, she told me that she had nerve damage in her hand because of my accident, because I ran that stop sign. Here's a picture. This is my little red Nissan Sentra, my first car, stick shift. I know, it was pretty scary. And right behind it there, you can see the big pickup truck that hit me. I was pretty sad at this point because no amount of spare keys could help me escape anymore. And when I did try to escape, I almost died, and I almost killed somebody that was innocent, you know? Michelle didn't ask for that, for lifelong damage to her hand. My mind, the cause and effect, and the action and the consequences, it was horrific. I cried so much, you know? I was stuck in my house again with my sad mom and my sad sister. Just stuck. And I remember sitting in the backyard and thinking, I don't ever want to drive again. Never again. I don't want to be responsible for this giant machine. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to hurt myself. So I'm just never going to drive again. I was serious. It hurt. So there's this weird thing that happens when you are a 16-year-old and you crash a car and it is determined this vehicle is totaled. My mom was a registered insured driver. I don't know, car insurance, right? It's a tricky thing, car insurance. So what happened is my mom found a second vehicle and her car insurance rates skyrocketed because you are living with this 16-year-old registered driver who is also a dangerous driver, right? So my mom says, I can't afford car insurance. Bishop, you fucked us. I know it wasn't your fault. I know you feel bad. I know you swear you're never going to drive again, but somehow I got to carry on, right? So she showed me her car insurance bill, and I was like, what? Tell them no. She says, we can't do that. You can't do that. You have to have insurance. It's a law. Well, my mom says, you got to get a job. You got to help me pay for this, you know? And at first I was like, no, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm not going to do that. Don't you get child support? Why don't you should be giving us money. We're the kids here. We're the child. My mom was already struggling, you know? So then I sort of went the other way with it. I was like, okay, if I get a job, that means I get money of my own, right? That's the math there. Come on. I didn't drive all summer. That summer was pretty miserable. I think I sat home, read a lot of books. I think at some point my best friend, he got his first car and I became the passenger and we rode around in his car. So, you know, I slowly stopped being afraid and I tried to understand that I had to drive cars again because that's how the world worked. You got to drive. And maybe the part of my mind said, you know what, we're invincible. We survived this once. We'll probably survive again. It'll be fine. I got my first job at a place called Hot and Now. Woohoo! Hot and Now was a little burger joint, drive-through only. And because I was good at math, I was smart, and I had some charisma, I could work the drive-thru, so they put me on the cash register. I think it was a couple weeks into my job where I started to learn the system. Guys, when you're smart, I didn't choose this, right? Sometimes being smart is a huge hindrance. It hurts. And other times being smart makes you able to take advantage. So whenever a mistake was made with an order and you had to undo it, or they just called it an overring. Like I typed in 5 cheeseburgers and 3 French fries, but when the customer got to my window, he said, oh, I only wanted 3 cheeseburgers and 3 fries, and I misheard. Oh, okay. So I'd call the manager over. He would say, okay, take the receipt and stick it in your register, right? And guys, don't do this. It's my disclaimer. I figured out that when I had a big receipt total, I just take the $12, stick it in my register. I wouldn't give the receipt to my customer, but they don't really care. They're buying burgers and fries for their families. They drive off, they've got no receipt. They don't cry about it. At the end of the day, I would take that $12 receipt and I would remove $12 from my cash register, and I would put that $12 in my pocket. I got pretty good at it. Some days I would take 20, sometimes 30. And guys, this was like early 90s, so this was when money was real, you know? It wasn't like today. For a while there, I was giving my mom the car insurance money. I had plenty of gas, plenty of copies of keys. I would buy role-playing game books. You know, life was good. It must have been September. I started my junior year of high school. I had an art class. It was kind of cool. I don't think I'd had an art class before, and they let you draw, and they gave you projects. And one of the projects was, we want you to create your own brand. Got to have a logo, some stationery. You know, really pump this thing up, right? Here's Pepsi, here's their logo, here's Wendy's, here's Taco Bell. So I thought for a while, what's my name? What's my brand? I remember watching a movie called Aliens, Sigourney Weaver. Mwah, Sigourney, call me if you see this. In the movie Aliens, they're on a spaceship, and there is a character who is an android. He's a robot. He takes this other character's hand and he puts it on the table, and then he puts his hand on top of it, and then he takes a knife and he goes clunk, 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 clunk. I should probably find this clip for you guys. I don't know if I can share it or not. This android, his name was Bishop. And I thought, I like that. I like that a lot. I also like the chess piece, Bishop. You know, it was a game. I played chess. Didn't like so much that a bishop was a church person, the Catholic, yeah. But here's my logo, here's my art, here's my name, Bishop. After the counseling debacle, I don't know, my mom, she took me to 4 or 5 counselors, all with the same results. I had gotten pretty good at my story by then. After the car accident, Michelle, if you're still out there and you're watching, please contact me, because I would very much like to give you a hug and try to make it up to you for the rest of my life. I'm so sorry that happened. It was my fault. I sort of found solace with the other kids. You know, when I went to school, there was always this group of kids hanging out, smoking cigarettes. They were always, you know, wearing the flannel and the combat boots and the ripped jeans, and they were from the broken families as well. And I sort of accepted it, and I said, you know what, if that's where I belong, and they welcomed me. They made me feel good. They made me feel less broken. So I started smoking cigarettes, because that's what you do. I started to grow my hair long, you know. My best friend and I, we would shave each other's heads. I know. You'd shave around the back and the bottom and then leave the top all long because that was what was cool. It was the 90s. Yay for the 90s. I think I was hanging out with a group of the other stoner kids, the Brokens, and there was a little restaurant. It was called Denny's, and it was open all day and all night, 24 hours a day. It would never close. So this was back in the day where you could smoke cigarettes inside Denny's, and they had a rule that as long as you were buying coffee, as long as you bought food, as long as you bought something, you were a paying customer. Well, you could sit there and smoke all you wanted. So after school, my gang and I, we'd go to Denny's and we'd just hang out. It was someplace to be. Michigan gets rather cold. There's like winter and snow and rain. I'm wearing my crash helmet because it's cold. So to be able to smoke inside and to be able to order a coffee or a pop or pancakes. There was another group of kids that we didn't know. They weren't from our school, but if they were in Denny's, if they were smoking cigarettes, you could tell by the combat boots. So we would swap tables sometimes. Some of us would get up and go to a different table. Others from that table would come over to our table, and we would just be like social. I met a girl, and she totally rocked my world. Beautiful bright red hair, curly, beautiful eyes, such a smile. She was so amazing and awesome. Her name was Amanda. And I fell. And I wanted more. I asked for her phone number. We had our first kiss. And when I say first kiss, my first kiss was just a little, and it happened in kindergarten with Anne. My first real kiss, where my tongue, her tongue, guys, I was 16 years old. She was so beautiful, and she put her tongue in my mouth. So enough said, right? What else is there to say? In my art class, I would draw pictures of her. I would spend hours drawing a picture of her because of the way she made me feel. I didn't really tell anybody about her. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my sister. I kept her a secret because I wanted to separate the bad, sad family from the happy, joyous girlfriend. This was my first girlfriend. I don't know. It was just such a contrast, you know? Here's Bishop with his awesome, amazing, beautiful woman, Amanda, and he's so happy and he's so funny and he's so charming and loving. And then here's Bishop without Amanda in his house with his mom and his sister and his brother, where things are still sad. Yeah, my mom and I, we argued a lot. I didn't feel it was fair that I'd have to pay for the car insurance. I didn't think she should pay car insurance either. It was just, it was teenage, you know, it was angsty. So my mom, I can remember meeting Amanda in September. October, we went to a Halloween party together. It was awesome. Amanda had her gang of friends from her school. I had my gang of friends from my school. We would all hang out. I think we tried role-playing games for a while, and you know, they were my people. November, sometime in December, I was drawing some pretty, I don't know. To me, this was just art. You were allowed to draw whatever you wanted. It's art. But in my art class, my teacher started to notice that Bishop's drawings were, Bishop, this one looks kind of sad. Are you okay? This one looks really sad, Bishop. Bishop, should I be calling your mother? I loved my art teacher. She was an amazing, awesome woman. But one day she called my mom and she said, hey, I think your son is close. You've got to do something. He's really sad. He's suicidal. He's hanging out with the wrong crowd of kids. And when I went home that day, my mom said, hey, we got to go to the store. And I said, oh, okay. I'll help my mom carry some groceries. Why not, you know? It's groceries, you got to do it. So I got in the car and we went for a drive, and I didn't understand it. I didn't know why these memories of going to the dentist. We stopped at a building that was very big, and it was dark, it was late at night, I think it was raining again, it was December, cold. My mom said, I want you to go inside, I'm gonna come with you and we're gonna talk to some people, okay? That's all, I'm just gonna talk. So we went through the doors and got to the counter, and my mom says, I need you to take him, check him in, you know, do this. It was a mental institution, and it was called Pine Rest. I got scared. I thought, oh my gosh, this is not good. I turned and I ran, full speed. Ran right to the doors. They were the automatic closing type of doors with a little sensor, so when you get close, they're supposed to open. These doors did not open, and I bumped into them. I put my fingers in the crack and I tried with all my might to open them, but there was no opening those doors. They were magnetically sealed. I was stuck. My mom had brought me to a mental institution. She said that I was suicidal. I was going to hurt myself. I think I laid in that bed in that little bedroom, and I just thought, you know, thoughts after thoughts after thoughts. How did I get here? Why am I here? How do I get out? I don't want to be here anymore. What's going to happen to Amanda? Like, how is she going to find out? She's going to think something happened. She's going to be worried about me. How do I get out of this? Cause and effect, right? Actions, consequences. Maybe I was a little too destructive. Maybe I should have told my mom that I was okay. Maybe I was angry at her because, you know, I didn't understand. From what I saw, my dad was the boss, and I grew up with these TV shows where Masters of the Universe, He-Man, he's the leader, you know? They have a meeting, an arrangement, and whatever He-Man says, that's what happens. Thundercats, this guy's name is Lion-O. G.I. Joe, there was a structure, there was a leader, and I believed that my dad was the leader. I did. So my dad was the one that punished. My dad was the one that gave consequences. When my mom kicked him out, it felt very much like a revolution. She had performed a coup. She took over the government. She was the bad one, you know? She made him leave. And my mind couldn't understand, because I asked her, and she said, your father was cheating on me. And I was like, what does that mean? Cheating? You guys played a game, Monopoly, and he cheated? No, your father was doing the sex wrong. Oh, all these times when my mom had come along and said, bad, 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 no, no, no. My dad was bad. He did something wrong. He did the sex wrong. So to me, yeah, I was kind of angry at my mom. So there was pushback, you know? I instantly changed that night. I knew I had to present myself as a normal, okay kind of kid that was not suicidal. I told my counselors, the therapists that were working with me, that it was all my mom's fault, that I was angry at her for the divorce, I was angry about the breakup, but that I wasn't suicidal. I said that I could no longer live with my mom, and that I wanted to live with my dad. I told them I had a girlfriend. I got a job, you know. What's going to happen to my job? I was there in Pine Rest for 10 days. I spent Christmas there. This was the first Christmas I missed with my family. I wasn't home. I was worried about my little sister, my little brother, Amanda, all my friends, my job, my best friend. I remember it was pretty special because one of those days I was allowed visitation, and my dad showed up, and he brought my girlfriend. He brought Amanda to see me. He said that she was my little sister, and she didn't have ID. She's like 15 years old. So, oh my gosh, did I smile, and I hugged my little sister Amanda so hard, and I hugged my dad, and I said, Dad, get me out of here. Get me out of here right now. And my dad said, do you want to come live with me? And I said, yes, I don't care what it takes. I will do whatever it takes. Get me out of here. I moved out. I moved out of my mom's house, and I moved in with my dad in a tiny little apartment. And I think I moved my little mattress behind his couch because it was a 1-bedroom apartment. But I was happy. I was so happy. When I first got out, I reached down and I picked up a handful of snow, and I just rubbed it all over my face, and I enjoyed feeling the cold because I had been stuck in this little box for 10 days. I wasn't able to smoke cigarettes. But now I could be with my girlfriend. I escaped my mom. I didn't have to be around my sister. I missed my little brother. I did. I didn't mean to leave him. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave him. But I just had to get out. And my outlook after that, I was kind of positive. There was still this programmed suicidal angst because that's who I was. I was not going to cut my hair. I was not going to stop smoking cigarettes. My friends were still my friends, so I had to be with them, and I had to, you know, belong. I wanted to belong. Yeah. I can't remember for sure, but I think I grabbed my mom's house key, and I had a couple copies of those made too, just in case. You never know when that might come in handy. Yeah, guys, some of this stuff is really, really hard to relive. It's difficult to talk about. I have dreams where I'm a kid again, and I am confronting some of these demons that I've been trying to run from for a long, long time. When I set out in the beginning, I didn't know what I was going to find, and now that I'm finding it, it has helped me so much. It just, I can't describe it. It has helped me see who I was and see where I've been and see and understand why I am the way I am now. You know, it makes a lot of sense when you look back, huh? This is the way I am. I think it allows me to change it too. I don't have to be that little boy. I don't have to be like that, you know? And you know what? I guess my counselors, my therapists, they were right, because it does help when we talk about it, and it does help when we find comfort in others. And if you were one of my counselors or my therapists, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Thanks, guys. I will see you next time. Wow, yeah. Can't wait to get out of that guy. Woo.